Welcome into Outkick the Show. I am your fearless leader, Clay Travis. I hope all of you are having fantastic Fridays, wherever you may be, across this great country or this great land. I hope you all have fantastic Fridays as you roll into what should hopefully be a fun weekend for all of you. We got a lot to get to. Major League Baseball is back. NFL has an agreement to bring players back for training camps. The CDC says kids need to be into school. The Blue Jays are headed to Buffalo. Lock It In is back on Monday on television. And we got a lot to get to. But I want to start with what I think is good news, as many people continue to give you bad news. Remember who your boy was who said, hey, everybody is going to be back. Every sport is going to be back. Major League Baseball officially got back yesterday. Before we get there, the coronavirus, it appears that the numbers have now peaked in Florida. They have now peaked in Texas. They have now peaked in Arizona. And they have now peaked in California. I suspect that there will be other states with their own rolling test and peaks and whatnot. But let me just say this. I can't believe it's not the number one story. I'm going to keep beating the drum. California, Texas, and Florida are all going to have similar numbers of confirmed cases as what we saw in New York. And they are going to have 1/10 of the death rate. Let me repeat this. California, New York, and also with Texas, all of them are going to soon have more confirmed cases than New York and an infinitely lower death rate. The fact that the media continues to shill for Andrew Cuomo, despite the fact that he is the worst politician of most of your lives when it comes to actually protecting life in New York, is flat out unbelievable. And as a result, I have to tell everybody out there, this is the number one story, and the fact that it's not getting covered is an absolute embarrassment, okay? That's the data. That's the truth. Despite the fact that cases are up, we have not seen a massive increase in deaths. There have been a tiny little blip. It appears that blip is now past, and it's going to come back down because all the major states have now been through their own version of a New York-style outbreak, only this one was much less deadly in California, in Florida, and in Texas. Okay? So go pay attention to that. Major League Baseball came back. All right, here's the deal. Major League Baseball, the NFL, the NBA, every American sports league is trying to make Twitter happy instead of making their actual fans happy. People complaining all day long on Twitter represent 2% of the overall population, and they are far more left-wing. They are not actually the real world. And yet we see time after time corporations, politicians, sports leagues decide to go out and try to make Twitter happy. Okay? And so, why? 1 in every 50 people in the country actually posts on Twitter. It is rife with bot manipulation, with far left-wing manipulation in general that's designed to create divisiveness in our country. There is no basis whatsoever to the idea that it accurately reflects the real world. Twitter is a carnival funhouse mirror. If you ever stood in those old school carnival funhouse mirrors, they would make you look taller, they'd make you look fatter, they'd make you look wider, they'd make you look totally different than you did. It was why they were funny. That is what Twitter does to national discourse in this country. It is a carnival funhouse mirror. If you tried to adjust your diet based on what you saw in the carnival funhouse mirror, you very often would make worse decisions about your own health. You might think you were fat, you were actually skinny. You might think you were skinny, you were actually fat. It's not real. And the number of people who continue to treat it as if it is real blows my mind. Use Twitter like a megaphone, not like a conversation. I tell you what I think. People can argue over whether or not they agree. I don't spend time worrying about what other people think about what I think. That's defeating the entire purpose of the distribution platform. All right? So, when you look at what Major League Baseball did, they're going to have an immediate, I bet, surge in interest, much like we saw with NASCAR. When every new sport comes back, the UFC, there's a pent-up demand for it. A lot of people initially watch. Everybody runs out and says, oh my God, look at how many people watched. And then what happens? Over time, you end up finding about the same audience that you did beforehand, maybe lower now because there's going to be more competition. Major League Baseball, in my opinion, is making the same mistake that the NBA and the NFL did. The number one reason why people watch sports is to escape their real lives. People watch sports for entertainment. This is over and above, by far, the reason why people watch sports. People don't watch sports because they want to see serious things in their life reflected there. Same reason you go and watch a superhero movie. You go to watch a superhero movie to be entertained. You go to watch a concert to be entertained. You don't go to a sporting event to have it turn into a political rally. And so there is a small percentage of people who constantly want sports and politics to intersect. They are incredibly active on social media. They have convinced the leagues that they should be listened to, and the leagues make the decision to listen to them, and then their business ends up taking a hit. Time after time. All of the time. 2 years ago, the NFL listened when everybody was saying, oh, the Colin Kaepernick situation, we got to cover it. Ratings dropped 19%. Colin Kaepernick's out of the league. They settle with him. Ratings come back. People like football. They don't like politics mixed with football. Baseball. People want to watch baseball. They don't care what you do during the national anthem. They want to watch baseball. Why would you be alienating your audience with woke baseball or basketball or football? This is a bad decision purely from a business perspective. I don't care about anybody's politics. You listen to my radio show, First Amendment's alive and well. You can believe in Democratic politics, Republican politics. Honestly, if you're a reasonable person, you should believe in some of both parties because it means you're actually using your brain. Anybody who's like, oh, I believe everything the Republican Party believes, I think is not being very smart. Anybody who's like, oh, I believe everything the Democrats say, you're also not being very smart. But all of this process, I'd encourage you to go read Jason Whitlock's column, I think is bad for overall sports. Why do I think that? Because in America, more now than ever before, you and I and everybody else out there need places where politics don't infest them, right? When somebody scores a touchdown and your favorite team wins and you're in a crowd and you turn around and high-five strangers, you don't care about their race, their religion, their ethnicity, or their sexuality. Sports is one of the final frontiers we have in American life where it isn't always infiltrated by politics. You have the ability to just enjoy your team and just enjoy your game and to create tribes that cross identity politics lines. White, black, Asian, Hispanic, it doesn't matter what your background is if you all have the same color on and you're all rooting for the same team. They are unifiers, not dividers. Identity politics, choosing one side of the political process over the other, those are dividers. And so I believe what we're headed for in 2020 is the most divisive year in most of our lives. There have been more divisive years in American history. We're going to get through this. We got through the Civil War. We got through World War II. We got through the 1918 flu pandemic, which actually killed 2 million people in modern terms, 10 times as deadly as this virus. Plus, we actually had an election during that. People don't understand our history, and so we are going to get through this divisive period. We are. But in the meantime, it is going to be incredibly difficult for many people in your families, in your places of work, in your relationships. There are going to be a lot of people who create tension as this election plays out because it's going to be very divisive. It's going to be very emotional. The media is leaning into emotion more than it ever has before because that's the entire basis of social media. And so as a result, baseball, basketball, football, hockey, whatever it is, all of them, I believe, are doing a disservice to our country and also to all fans who can be united and instead are going to be divided by sports this fall. And I think it's going to work against all sports leagues. We'll wait and see what actually happens. But I think it is a story that is unfortunately going to divide us, that is, sports is, more than it is going to unite us this fall. Now, So I didn't agree with baseball's decision. Now, let's dive into some of the actual activities going on in baseball. How about Dr. Fauci? You go out to throw the opening pitch and you are that bad. I know you're 79 years old. I know that you probably haven't thrown a baseball in a very long time. But take it from a guy who's thrown 2 opening pitches, one pretty decent in AAA, the other one I airmailed at the Vanderbilt Baseball Stadium. It's always better to overthrow than it is to underthrow. Airmail the catcher if possible. Show that you've got the arm strength, the rotator cuff power to throw it all the way to the backstop. And actually, by the way, look like you've ever thrown a baseball before. If you can't throw a baseball, if you're 50 Cent, if you're the mayor of Cincinnati, look him up if you haven't already. If you can't throw a baseball, don't accept the offer to go out and throw a baseball for the first pitch of a game. I don't understand why people do this. And by the way, it's really disappointing that Dr. Fauci and 50 Cent now have something in common in that they have joined the infamy of awful first pitch Hall of Fame. So that is my thoughts on Fauci in general. Juan Soto tested positive, then he tested negative. A big part of the storyline of all sports returning is going to be the number of false positives, okay? The number of false positives are going to be huge. We've already seen this in the PGA. We may have seen it in NASCAR. We may also now be seeing it in baseball. It is going to be a mess. You're going to have to pass a lot of tests, and there's not going to be as many guys who initially test positive that later test positive. Jimmy Johnson is an example in NASCAR. I forgot the name. Crocker, was that his name in the PGA, where they had to change the PGA process for what exactly was going to look like. That, I think, is going to be a big deal. Listen, go read. Listen to the scientists. Listen to the doctors. The CDC has officially said all kids need to be in school this fall. My own school district is making some sort of ridiculous hybrid decision. Kindergarten through 2nd grade are going in person. 3rd grade and up are not going. If it's safe enough for kindergarten through 2nd grade to go, how are you going to say that 3rd grade through 12th grade can't go? The CDC, go read this if you don't trust me. If you don't trust the 67,000 pediatricians who said kids need to be back in school, you need to actually trust the data and the facts. Kids are more likely to die of the seasonal flu. So are teachers. This is not a real danger that has not been overcome before. Life has risks. The risks of kids being out of school, according to the CDC, and the 67,000 pediatricians, is more substantial than the risks of kids being in school. And I want you to think about this for a minute with me. Why do people say listen to scientists when it comes to climate change and argue that they are the party of science, which is what the Democrats say, and then as soon as the argument becomes all kids need to go back to school, they don't listen to the scientists and they don't listen to the doctors? If you're claiming that you're the party that listens to experts, you can't just selectively listen to experts that confirm your worldview. And that goes for everybody out there, whether you are a Democrat or whether you are a Republican. If you are going to claim to be a party of science, then you need to listen to scientists all the time. Now, it doesn't mean you have to take every scientist's recommendation to heart. You should consider them within the context of social policy. It can make sense for everybody to stay home during flu season because some people are going to die of the flu. But we have to balance out the number of people that are going to die from the economy collapsing. If I decided right now I am never going to leave my house again and I'm going to move into a place by myself, I probably wouldn't die of the flu and I certainly wouldn't die of the coronavirus. But you know what? I also wouldn't have a real life. I would be giving up on life in order to try to avoid all fear. And even then, I might fall down the stairs in my house and break my neck and die. The risk from the coronavirus is actually minimal. It is nearly non-existent. An expert can be right about something, and still it can be worth not listening to them. All right? Because in order to completely eradicate the coronavirus, we would have to give up on our ability to be a capitalistic society and also on educating our young. Everything in life is about balance. The idea that we should cease life because of a virus that a tiny, tiny percentage of people are actually in danger from is absolutely lunacy. It is ludicrous. It makes no sense. Go read the CDC recommendations. All of us. I love my 12, my 9, and my 5-year-old more than anything in the world. They are the most important thing in my life. They all need to be back in school. My kindergartner is starting and going back to school. My 4th grader and my 7th grader, it looks like, are going to start on computers. Why would they be split up? All kids need to be back in school. This is a no-brainer. The CDC has said it. The pediatricians have said it. Either listen to experts or don't, but don't claim that you're listening to science when you're not actually doing it. Facts matter. Use them. The Blue Jays are moving to Buffalo. Buffalo's a great town. Huge support for the Sabres. Huge support for the Bills. They never win anything, yet they're all out there every single day. And it is a credit to Buffalo. They're going to get the Blue Jays. I hope by some point in the season, they're able to go watch them play. Buffalo welcomes the Blue Jays. Congrats in general for Major League Baseball being back. By the way, I didn't even talk about Mookie Betts taking a knee. Mookie Betts took a knee alongside of several San Francisco Giants players. I want to ask you a question. Has taking a knee now totally jumped the shark? I think it has. When the highest paid player in Major League Baseball is taking a knee, it's no longer rebellious. What would absolutely destroy taking a knee, I've argued this for a while, is if Roger Goodell walks out onto the 50-yard line of the Texans-Chiefs game and he takes a knee and then throws up a black power fist, overnight it would become incredibly uncool to take a knee because Roger Goodell might be the least cool person in all of sports. It might be the case that much like when everybody knows a popular rap song, that song is no longer cool because it's too trendy. Taking a knee has become so trendy that my buddy Jason Whitlock is calling it the equivalent of the ice bucket challenge. When everybody is doing it, it's not rebellious. It's not remotely unique. The actual rebellious thing now, the thing that requires intestinal fortitude, is doing what the San Francisco Giants pitcher did. Some of you may know his name. I don't even know this guy's name, but he refused to kneel because he said he only kneeled in regards to his religious faith. He would not kneel for anything man created. That's actually brave. That is actually a brave thing to say when everybody out there is doing the opposite. We have now created a universe where standing is more brave than kneeling. If everybody is doing something, it's not brave to actually make the decision to do what everybody else is doing. That San Francisco Giants pitcher said he only kneels for God. He's getting ripped by the sports media for now refusing to kneel. All right? The sports media will rip you when you make decisions that they disagree with. Whether it was back in the day, remember when the Bruins goalie didn't go visit the White House? It was an insult to America that the Bruins goalie had political beliefs that conflicted with Barack Obama, then the president, and he decided not to go. And the sports media ripped him, Tim Thomas, I think it was, to the high heavens for saying that he didn't believe in Barack Obama's politics, so he wasn't going to go visit the White House. It was disrespectful of America to do that. Now, if you don't go to the White House, you get a ticker tape parade from the media all over this country. All right? This is totally ridiculous. What I have been saying ever since this Kaepernick situation began is most people don't like the First Amendment. They like people who agree with them. If Colin Kaepernick had actually decided to take a knee to protest abortion being legal in this country, or to protest the fact that gay marriage was legal, The same people defending his right to protest would have demanded that he actually be fired by the 49ers or suspended by the NFL. You're not defending free speech when you are defending speech that you agree with. It needs to be content neutral. I am a First Amendment absolutist. People have the right to make whatever political statements they want, but also you have the right to disagree with that statement. It is a two-way street. And the sports media doesn't even acknowledge that. That is why Outkick is growing so fantastically fast. That's why you need to go sign up for Outkick VIP today. Get to hang out with Jason Whitlock, with myself on the message board. Also be able to call VIP into my phone, into my rapidly growing radio show. And you can comment on all of the articles out there. This is crazy. Tim Tebow couldn't use Bible verses in his eye black. Jason Witten couldn't honor police officers with a helmet lapel, but suddenly everybody is bending over backwards to try and argue that now political speech is okay. This is absolutely ridiculous. Lock It In is back on Monday. Sports gambling is back. Positivity. I will be back at 4 Eastern every day starting on Monday to break down all of the world of sports gambling. Hallelujah. It is now back. I will be there. It will be a lot of fun. I cannot wait. Cousin Sal, Todd Furman, Rachel Bonetta, and I will all be hanging out Monday at 4 o'clock Eastern, 30-minute show until college football comes back and the NFL comes back, and then we'll be going to a full hour. The show is back and rolling. Did I say the NFL had reached agreement? The NFL has now reached agreement, much to the chagrin of the Corona Bros. Reportedly, everybody's going to show up for training camp. The season is going to be on, and it is going to be on with absolutely no issues going forward at all. For the start of the season, it doesn't appear, based on the timing, big time. This is going to be pretty outstanding, I believe. The college football positive test guidelines from the NCAA are broken. There is absolutely no legitimacy to it whatsoever. And so as you break it down going forward, they need to have reasonable, realistic test protocols. When someone tests positive, the whole rest of the team, like Michigan State is doing right now, doesn't need to quarantine for 2 weeks. So far, no college athlete that I am aware of has had a significant health issue. None of them have been hospitalized. That's typically on point with what happens for this virus. I would encourage all of you to go check out all of the data, and you will be well on your way to reaching the same result as I did. All right, I appreciate all of you. My name is Clay Travis. DBAP unless you need to SBAP. Go sign up for Outkick VIP. Go sign up for all our podcasts. A lot of great stuff coming. Trust me, from Outkick, I cannot wait. This is Outkick the Show. My name is Clay Travis. DBAP unless you need to SBAP. See y'all. Kisses. Have great weekends. Love you. Thank you. Have great weekends. See you.